Hi, good night everyone, or good morning, depending on the time that you are looking at this presentation. We are going to do types of memory today. Our group members are Deborah, Sharice, myself, Alicia, and Janessa. This is our concept map. It consists of all the topics that we will be completing in our presentation. So as you can see, memory, types of memory, and unusual memories such as flashbulb memory, photographic memory, and we'll be covering all those topics. To be interactive in this presentation, we have a small game for you all to play. The rules of the game is to list out the items on the pictures on the screen. So it's like a sheep, trumpet, roller skates, boat, slide, kite, key, flowers, and so on. And you have to recite the items in the picture aloud in the same order that they appear without looking at the picture. Let us know in the comments how you were able to do that, and if you were able to remember all of it. So we would start with what is memory. Memory is the ability to retain information over time through three processes: encoding, storing, and retrieving. Encoding refers to making mental representations of information so that it can be placed into our memories. Storing is the process of placing encoded information into relatively permanent mental storage for later recall. Retrieving is the process of getting or recalling information that has been placed into short-term or long-term memory. Right? There are types of memory. We have sensory memory, known as recording, short-term memory, known as working memory, and long-term memory, known as storing memory. Sensory memory refers to an initial process that receives and holds environmental information in its raw form for a brief period of time, from an instant to several seconds. Short-term memory refers to another process that can hold only a limited of information, up to an average of 7 items, for only a short period of time, being 2 to 30 seconds. Long-term memory refers to the process of storing almost unlimited amounts of information over long periods of time. How memory works? The secret to great encoding and great recall is to associate new information with old information, right? And a key thing in memory is paying attention. It's probably, I would say, very important. If you do not pay attention to information in short-term memory, it is not encoded and is forgotten. If you do pay attention by rehearsing the information, such as taking notes, the information will be encoded for storage in long-term memory. Information that is encoded for storage in long-term memory will remain there on a relatively permanent basis. Whether or not you can recall the instructor's words from long-term memory depends partially on how they are encoded. All right? So the secret to great encoding and great recall is to associate new information with old. Sensory memory, also known as recording memory, I'm going to let you know some functions of it. It prevents us from being overwhelmed. It keeps you from being overwhelmed by too many incoming stimuli, because any sensory information you do not attend to will vanish in seconds. Also, it gives decision time. It gives you a few seconds to decide whether some incoming sensory information is interesting or important. Information you pay attention to will automatically be transferred to short-term memory. And it also provides stability, playback, and recognition. You have iconic memory, makes things in your visual world appear smooth and continuous, such as seeing, even during blinking. Echoic memory lets you play back auditory information, such as holding separate sounds so that you can recognize them as words. Iconic and echoic memory. Iconic memory and echoic memory are forms of sensory memory. Iconic memory automatically holds visual information for about a quarter of a second or more. As soon as you shift your attention, the information disappears. Iconic memory briefly holds information during eye blink, whereas echoic memory, it holds auditory information for 1 or 2 seconds. In addition to letting you play back things you thought you did not hear, echoic memory lets you hold speech sounds long enough to know the sequences of certain sounds from words. A simple way that I remember the difference between the both, for iconic memory, I think about my eye because the word starts with the letter I, and echoic memory, I relate it to sound echoes according to where you are, but that's how I remember it. Now we would go on to short-term memory, also known as working memory.
Okay, now we go on. Okay, now we go on to short-term memory, working memory, limited duration and limited capacity. Limited duration information remains for a brief time, 2 to 30 seconds. You can keep information longer in short-term memory by using maintenance rehearsal. Limited capacity. This is one of the main reasons why information disappears from a short-term memory. Example, if you are trying to remember a phone number and someone asks you a question, the question interferes with or wipes away the phone number. Also, allows you to selectively attend to information that is relatively and disregard everything. Also, it holds information for a short period of time until you decide what to do with it. It stores or encodes information in long-term memory. Chunking. Chunking is combination of separate items of information into a unit and then remembering chunks of information rather than individual items. Rehearsal. Rehearsal refers to conscious repetition of information. If this not interrupted, information can be retained indefinitely. It is verbal, giving the impression of an inner voice, visual, or a pattern. Long-term memory storing. Capacity and permanency. Long-term memory has almost unlimited capacity to store information. Anything stored has the potential to last a lifetime, provide drugs or diseases, do not damage your brain, memory, or circuits. Chances of retrieval. Although all information is on long-term memory has the potential to retrieve, how much can you actually retrieve depends on the number of factors, including how it was encoded and the amount of interference from related information. Accuracy of long-term memory. Researchers found that the content and accuracy of long-term memories may undergo change and distortion across the time and not always be accurate as people think. We do not recall all events with the same accuracy, sometimes inflated positive events and emulation negative ones. This tendency becomes strong as we age. Now we go on to putting long-term memory into short-term sensory input. Now we go on to putting information into long-term memory. First is the sensory memory. Think about this. As you drive down the highway, you're half listening to the car radio. Among the incoming information, which is held for a second or less, is sensory memory. Are the words, remember the song, Love is Like a Chocolate, and Win 2 tickets. Then it goes to attention. If you do not pay attention to the information about winning a ticket, it will disappear from sensory information. If the chance of if the chance to win the tickets gets attention, information about the song Love is Like a Chocolate is automatically transferred into short-term memory. And then short-term memory now, once the song title is in short-term memory, you have a short time, 2 to 30 seconds. For further processing, if you lose interest in a title or are distracted by traffic, the title will most likely disappear and be forgotten. However, if you rehearse a title, or better yet, form a new association, the title will likely be transferred into encoding your long-term memory. Encoding, however, you place information in long-term memory through the process called encoding. Encoding is a process of transferring information from short-term to long-term memory by paying attention to repeating and rehearsing for numerous occasions. Let us say like a number, you continue saying like 1868355, 1868355. Okay? And then it goes on to the long-term memory. Once a song title is encoded in long-term memory, it has the potential to remain there for a lifetime. Long-term memory refers to the process of storing almost unlimited information over periods of time with potential of retrieving or remembering such new information. So with this long-term memory, you would remember the process over and over because long-term memory information stays there for a long time. Now we go on to retrieving. When people talk about remembering something, they actually mean retrieving or recalling information from the long term. Retrieving is the process of selecting information from long term memory and transferring it back to short term. So let me say like the number. Someone will ask you, where's the number? Because it was encoded in for a couple of times, it gone into long term memory now. So you're saying 5556, 5556, and now to retrieve it, you remember it because it was in your long term memory and it's something it was encoded for a long particular time. Okay, now we go on to Deborah.
Primacy effects refers to better recall of information presented at the beginning of a task. Recency effect refers to better recall of information at the end of a task. For example, in the event of a shopping list created, the primacy and recency effect can be seen. The better the memory for the item at the beginning of the list is called the primacy effect, and the better the memory for the end of the list is called the recency effect. Declarative and procedural memory. Declarative memory involves memory for facts or events such as conversation, faces, or daily events. Procedural memory involves memory for motor skills, some cognitive skills, and emotional behavior learned through classical conditioning. Semantic and episodic memory. Semantic memory is a type of declarative memory and involves knowledge of fact, concepts, words, definition, and language rules. Episodic memory is a type of declarative memory and involves knowledge of specific events, personal experiences, or activities such as movies, songs, and hobbies. Encoding. Encoding refers to acquiring information or sorting information in memory by changing this information into memory codes. Two such codes are automatic encoding and effectful encoding. Automatic encoding is the transfer of information from short-term into long-term memory without any effort and usually without any awareness. Effortful encoding involves the transfer of information from short-term into long-term memory, either by working hard to repeat or rehearse the information or by making association between new and old information. Maintenance and elaborative rehearsal. Maintenance rehearsal is a type of memory rehearsal that is useful in maintaining information in the short-term memory. This usually involves repeating information without thinking about its meaning or connecting it to other information. Elaborative rehearsal is the type of memory rehearsed that is useful in transferring information into long-term memory. This type of rehearsal is effective because it involves thinking about the meaning of the information and connecting it to another information already stored in memory.
Hi, I'm Janessa, and I will be dealing with repressed memory, the role of a therapist, implanting false memory, how accurate repressed memories, and culture influence on the individual's memory, the distinction between photographic, eidetic, and flashbulb memory. Now, repressed memory is defined as a process in which the mind pushes a memory of an event that has been threatening or traumatic deep into the unconscious. Once this occurs in the unconscious, the repressed memory cannot be retrieved at will and remains dormant until awakened by a trigger and the person remembers. So a trigger could be a scent, music, a taste. Different things can help with repressed memories. Now, the role of a therapist is to assist the client that has repressed memory about traumatic or painful events which occur to the client. There are these kind of experience completely block memories. Sometimes it takes approximately 12 months while the client is in therapy for a breakthrough. Some of the therapy that therapists may use are using images, hypnosis, or a so-called truth serum, sodium antil, implanting of false memories. There are cases in which scientists implant certain memories of traumatic or painful events within the client and which had not occurred in the client's life. Some therapists suggesting or implanting traumatic memories in the client's mind rather than assist the client to release these repressed ones. As a result of this can cause psychological problems. Clients tend to remember false information as being the true memory which are suggested or implanted by the therapist. Their study shows that false memories can be implanted in children and adults. However, the fact that false memories can be implanted and later recalled as true does not disprove the occurrence of repressed memory. Rather, these studies simply show that false suggestion can grow into vivid, detailed, and believable personal memory. How accurate are repressed memories? Now, individuals may enter the therapist for different types of issues. Some of the issues may be eating disorder, mood swings, or different types of issues the clients may be having. Now, during the course of the therapy, there are clients who recover from these repressed memories. And some of these memories which have been repressed are linked to childhood abuse, sexual abuse. However, since research has shown that persons have been implanted or through suggestion of false memories and are believed to be true, some questions the accuracy of clients' recovered memories. There are studies that also shows that recovered memories cannot be established because there's no corroborated evidence of clients' reports that the traumatic incident really occurred. So it's questionable because of a therapist implanting false memories to the client. According to Elizabeth Luftus, a memory researcher, she questions these these results. Now, what she said, reason why she has two reasons why she questions the occurrence of the cult memories. The first one is research has shown that memories that are very detailed, but later proven to be false and implanted in both children and adults. So the memory that the client may think that is really occurred to them did not occur. So that is one reason why she questions the accuracy of this repressed memory. And next reason is that therapists make suggestions or implant false information to the client and use these memories to explain. So some of the clients may use some of these false memories to explain their current psychological problems. So these are two reasons why she questioned the accuracy of the testings. Now I would like to move on to culture, the influence of culture on an individual. Culture does have influence on individuals. Study was done on American children and Ghana. And in this study, these children were under the age of 1 to 8 years, 1 to 8 years of age, of the child's first part of their life. In the culture of America, education is to read and write. So they have reading and writing skills in that culture. So they have a rich tradition. So their students are taught to read and write, and this is helped with their personal growth and development. However, in Ghana's culture, the children are taught through spoken words, meaning they do more oral tradition. So instead of reading and writing, and due to in Ghana, there's fewer private schools and there are fewer textbooks. So there's one reason why they do more reading with their children, because of not everybody's able to be exposed to education. So what they simply do is retell stories, retell information, different types of information, and children generally sits and listen to what is being told. So in Ghana, they have oral tradition, and a study was done. A researcher did a study on these two countries, American and Ghana, students, and they did a story called The War of the Goose. Well, at the end of the reading that the researcher did, the Canadian children were able to score much more higher than the American children because they were able to recall all of the spoken information that was done through the reading. So they were able, they in their culture, they do more oral tradition, so their brain always, the ears up listening, so they be more attentive and paying more attentive to what is being said. So they scored a much higher than the writing tradition. Now we have photographic memory, eidetic memory, and flashback. What are the difference in these three? Now, photographic memory is defined as the ability to form sharp, detailed visual images after examining a picture or page for a short period of time and to recall the entire image at a later date. So you may, for instance, read a book, and about 2 months after, you exactly remembers the detail that you read in the book. That's what is photographic memory. You take a picture of an image or a story, right? This is photographic memory. The eidetic memory is often interchangeable. It is similar to photographic memory. However, This is the ability to remember things that is heard or read or even seen, if only exposed to them briefly. So just let's say you're going for a drive and you see this big pink building, your brain takes a picture of this big pink building. And it was just for a brief moment, but I'm sure when you pass back, you will remember that big pink building, unless the colors change. But you will remember that big pink building, right? So this this type of memory is a rare ability and it's more common in childhood. It is typically fades as you get older, right? So that's the difference between photographic memory and eidetic memory. One is that the it just stay for a brief moment, which is the eidetic memory, and the photographic memory takes it's more longer periods. Just image takes more so longer period in your mind. Flashbulb. Flashbulb memory are vivid recollection, usually in a great love, dramatic or emotional child incidents that are of interest to the person. This information is coded effortlessly and may last for a long period of time. So, of interest to the person, this memory will remain detailed in your mind. So, thank you for listening. Bye.
We also have, we also have some additional resources. These links are additional videos that may help you with a better understanding of memory. We have 3 links. We would put it below in the comments. It will be the first comment. The first link is a link to a crash course about how we make memories. Basically, the guy is talking about everything that we spoke about, but just in case you need that other opinion, it will be the first video. The second video shows a clip from Sesame Street, I Can Remember, where a mother is giving her child a list to go to the shop to purchase some items, and also pay attention to how she remembered the items. Comment below and let us know the technique that she used. And we also have a short video on flashbulb memory to give you a better understanding or a second opinion or someone else saying it. We also have our references, and a quote by Samuel Johnson is the true art of memory is the art of attention. So we would leave you with that quote, and thank you for viewing our presentation. Looking forward to reading your comments so we can interact with each other.